morning. We are back. I have decided to level up my vlog game with this little gadget, aka the gimbal. So, this morning guys, all clients are replied to, the ones that are competing anyway. So, I have already done bulk of my check-ins and it's actually 7:15. The reason why it's probably a little bit later is because, look at this. You can probably see, wait. This is my current sleep. And it has been like this consistently for a long time. I mean, it's generally sitting and like, that's just a usual day for me. Or shall we say a low day, where we are getting like 85 sleep. So it's looking good, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely think I attribute the sleep down to a very good routine that myself and Meg have. We do take enough time before bed to actually unwind, relax. I definitely stay off my phone for at least 90 minutes before bed, which makes a big difference. I think factors that generally do impact the sleep is people try to do tasks or try to do things that generally promote wakefulness. And generally, anything that you will do on your phone will promote wakefulness, which is definitely not the most ideal, but it is what it is. It's something that I do think a majority of you can actually do to fix your sleep. That combining obviously wearing blue light blockers and making sure that generally we are taking that time to unwind alongside of a high dose of dream sleep from Trained by JP, which is epic. The dreams that I have is insane, and one thing I've noticed recently as well, having added vitamin C in my nighttime supplements, I'm not waking up to pee quite as much, so I'm not passing as much water, and I have added 10 grams of glutamine pre-bed as well as an addition, and that has actually helped as well. So some tips there for you guys to improve your sleep. I will probably do a separate video on supplementation routine and what I can do to optimize recovery and sleep. Similar to AJ, he's done on his channel, so credit to AJ. But I will probably do a separate one on what you can actually do with some extras on there that I think are worth adding in. Now, I do like to drink my water in the morning out of a glass. Now here, we do have a concoction of glutamine, creatine, we do have some nootropics added in there, and we do have a little bit of flavouring, which is calorie free. I do also have my vitamin D3 added in there from the capsules, the D3 and K2, which I take a very high dose of every single day. I actually take 20,000 IUs every single day because that's what actually puts me in a very good range. So if you are an assisted athlete and you are living in the UK, you are likely deficient in D3 and K2. So it's a hormone, remember guys, it is a hormone that you have to keep on top of. Now, the difference that you will notice optimizing D3 is huge, especially when it comes to your energy levels and mood. So if you are experiencing any times, especially in the winter months, where you are feeling down as such, it's probably worth adding vitamin D3 in. I'll be honest with you. Start point, 4,000 IUs. But if you are using anabolics, anything as such, or you are training hard, you will likely need a higher dose. Guys, if you want some, code Kuba10, trainedbygp.com. You know the drill. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the rest of my clients. I do have around 12 messages left to get through. So I'll probably get some of them done now. And then the rest I will probably finish on the treadmill. So let's get it. Time to start the day. Well, day's already started, but you know the drill. Okay, that is a majority of the work wrapped up. All the important stuff anyway. I always aim to walk in my office, get the bulk of the work done, especially the big important bits, as soon as I wake up. As a coach, a lot of you watching this, you'll know that the client work never truly ends, but you have to make sure that the important tasks and important work is always boxed off first thing in the morning. So if I have clients compete, they will always take priority. So the second I wake up, I actually do not have a personal phone anywhere near me. I have my work phone other side of my bedroom. So the second my alarm goes off, I am straight onto my client replies, because I do have some guys in the Netherlands, and with the time difference, they always get me the check-ins over at like 5 a.m, sometimes even 4 a.m. my time. So as soon as I wake up, I'm straight onto replying to them, and obviously my British guys that are prepping as well. It's a busy week, busy next couple of weeks coming up with guys and girls competing. But that's what we love. Anyway, back on topic that I want to cover before I head down and do my steps. Water. I aim to finish almost this entire bottle, as this is generally just off being full, because I do use some of this for my nighttime drink when I get it ready the night before. So this is probably 1.3 litres in total. I aim to drink this within the first hour of me waking up. So I just reminded myself to actually cover hydration, because I just had my last sip of this drink. So if you are struggling with your general water intake, always prioritize getting hydrated first thing in the morning. Add in some electrolytes, need be, a little bit of salt, glutamine, creatine to your drink. And there's tons of things you can add to flavour it if you don't like plain water. Always makes it much easier to go down without additional calories. So I definitely advise doing that, and it allows you to get in front with hydration. But not only that, you will find if you have got any cardio, any steps to do fasted, which I always do, and I'm a massive fan of, and I definitely think everyone should be doing, it will definitely keep you in a spot where your energy is much better and you have sustained levels of energy throughout. So it's definitely worth doing, and it already allows you to get hydrated for the day, and hydration is the key to success in training performance, cognitive function, but also even when you get on stage. So do not undervalue hydration. Anyway, time to get on the treadmill. Right, morning activity, morning steps, morning cardio, whatever you want to call it, is getting done. One thing I would like to highlight to all of you watching this is consistency. Some of you watching this vlog right now will have watched the previous vlogs, some of my day in the life videos, and you will notice that my days, my routine, my meals, my training, the timing of everything that I do is extremely consistent. When you develop these habits, develop these routines, that is a massive portion of your success and how effective you become at ticking the boxes. Half the battle, guys, is lack of routine, lack of consistency when it comes to adherence, when it comes to ticking the boxes, and when it comes to doing what you need to do. So one thing I urge you to try is developing better daily habits. I promise you, you can do more, you can do better if you can work on yourself, if you can work on your discipline with your time management, and if you can have a little bit more control over your timing. I'll give you an example, right? Every morning I do 25 minutes on the treadmill, 3% incline, 5 kilometers per hour. Now, it's a task that isn't the most pleasant, but it gets done. And guess what? Because I am on a schedule, because I have responsibilities, because I have tasks that I need to get done, I do not think about doing this
I simply get on the treadmill at the time that I have to be on the treadmill for, and it gets done no matter what, because I need to have my meal 1 at 7:45, 8 o'clock latest. So the latest that I am on the treadmill is 7:10. And guess what? If I need to be on the treadmill at 7:10, I need to have completed at least 1 hour of work beforehand. This means I need to be up at 6 a.m. latest. So, do you see a pattern here? Everything is dictated by the daily routine, by the habits that are created. Now, if you're watching this and you are finding it helpful, and I have contributed to your process in a positive way, comment down below with consistency, because consistency is the key. Anyway, back to my steps, back to client replies, back to business, and then meal 1. And you'll see again a trend across this vlog, which is consistency with my nutrition, meal timing, training timing, consistency in my logbook. Everything is consistent.
Body, lower body, every day, and just grow and keep growing. So, I don't know, it's kind of a hard question to answer. Top 5 best feelings in the world? Interesting, Mr. Fitness is top 5 best feelings in the world. Number 1, love board videos or workout videos.
Here we go. We've got
I'm not sure, but people
meal number 1,
cooking videos, and
which is
on the weekend when I was in, or this
100 grams of blueberries, 3 whole eggs, 125 raw weight rice, 125 venison. We've got 100 grams of veg, and 15 gram total of my low calorie sauce. Consistency, my friends, consistency is what you will see out of my days in the life. Consistency in nutrition, consistency in routine, and consistency in all the variables which allow me to be effective. I had 1 cap of Digest Pharma Pro, 3 caps of Ensure. Again, Ensure, it's not just a GDA, but it's amazing when it comes to management of blood sugars, but also reducing oxidative stress. So this is tremendous. And this, when it comes to digestion, is the king. Taste test. Back to work. That's meal 1 down. I got my food ready for the remainder of the day, all out in the bowls, so I can get my steps boxed off now, get back to work, and then when it's time for meal number 2, I literally come back downstairs, put it in the pan, eat, get some more steps done, then back to work. Now, I do like to allocate my steps after every single meal. The main reason for that is, guys, if I do not allocate these steps and have consistent bouts of steps across the day, I'll probably hit about 2,000 steps for the day. So I need to be mindful of my daily activity, otherwise I'm just pretty much sat down on my desk all day. So it's a small little tip: if you struggle with steps, you need to just allocate some time for them, and trust me, it's going to be much easier for you to hit them, and it won't actually feel like you need to do a ton of walking if you do spread it out across your day, if and where possible. If you've got a full-time job, it might be a little bit harder, but even then, you do get regular breaks that, instead of sitting down and scrolling your phone, you could use as a bit of a walk. So, food for thought. So, meal number 2 going down. We've got rice, 125 grams of raw weight rice, 30 grams of spinach, 30 grams of mushroom, 20 grams of peppers, 200 grams of raw weight chicken, and then we're going to have 100 grams of pineapple out of this, and then save the rest for my pre-workout meal. As always, a little bit of smoked paprika. I use this year round. It's one of my favourites. And then I will probably put a little bit of dash on after. And then assortment of my no added calorie or low calorie sauce on top. And I do weigh them, 10 grams. That's my allocated amount for the meal. Right, that's the meal. Finished up, and that's how it's presenting. I had 1 Ensure, 1 Digest Farmer, and 1 Magnesium with this as well. Okay, meal number 2 down the hatch. And right now, I'm going to do a couple of minutes of steps and then get stuck into my lecture that I have for our team. So today I will go in depth on progressive overload. Now, this is part of our coaching service and our mentorship. Mentorship program is a little bit separate because with mentorship you do get a little bit more support when it comes to your business, your coaching, and even insight on better decision making when it comes to your clients. So we do oversee everything with our mentees, and they do get a lot more access to a lot more educational content and Q&As and more in-depth work that we do with them, covering any issues that they have. Now with clients, we also do Q&As and lectures that generally help them gain a better understanding of the process and all the ins and outs that come along the ride with the bodybuilding journey. Today, I think is going to be a huge one because I have had a lot of conversations with clients this past week that wasn't really applying progressive overload correctly and was wasting a ton of energy and effort and time in the gym. So I'm looking forward to delivering today and again providing more value for our people and the community that we have built. So that is all I get time for in terms of my little steps. A couple of minutes of walking, and now it's time to deliver the lecture. Then I'll finish off my steps when it's done. Conversations I've had with clients recently, I do think the application of progressive overload is very much misunderstood. You have to understand that there's multiple ways that you can apply progressive overload within your training. And generally, when it comes to understanding progressive overload, I do prefer the term progressive stimulus. And that is something that I got from Jordan Shallow. I will always give credit where credit's due because I don't think a lot of people do that often enough. And I think a lot of people try to claim stuff that hasn't really been brought forward by them. And it's been brought forward by others and try and claim it for themselves. And I'm just nothing like that. So progressive stimulus is the main topic of conversation for today. Now, I'm going to break down every point of how you can improve your training progression and how you can actually improve your application of progressive overload within your own programming and with programming within your clients' programs and how you actually train your clients in person. I think this will be a complete game changer. And the most common mistake that I see people make, including myself in past, has not been necessarily the work part. It's almost been overdoing the part where you are simply too greedy with your progressions with the loading. You have to increase your weight gradually within your training. Now, where the biggest discrepancy will be between how much load you are able to use and how much load you are able to progress will be between your upper body exercises and your lower body exercises. I still see a lot of my guys and girls try to increase their incline Smith, for example, by adding a 10 kilo plate on each side. Now, if you understand how progressive overload happens, it's a very, very slow process. You do not get stronger by lifting more weight. You get stronger as a process of adaptation. So, in simple terms, what happens is you come into the gym, you will lift a certain load, right? And you will lift with very close proximity to failure with the load that you can handle within the rep range you have assigned, right? This way you will break down the muscle tissue. You go home, you recover. When you are recovering, you are adapting, right? So if you have adapted and you have grown some new muscle tissue, the next time you come into the gym, hopefully that same weight will be easier and you will be able to either get more reps or lift more load. This is as simple as I could physically break this down for you. Does that sound simple enough? I could probably assume it does. So when it comes to progression, I really want to explain how I want you to approach your progression in an off-season setting, and then I will break things down on how you should approach it in a calorie deficit as well. Now, in an off-season setting, when you are in a calorie surplus, your recovery is not compromised, you should be able to see either load or rep progressions across the board. If you are not seeing load or rep progressions, that means your recovery is probably impacted by your lifestyle or your training volume is too high if you are dialed in with your nutrition, your water intake, your recovery and stress management. A lot of people struggle with lift progression in general down to the external factors, not necessarily down to the programming.
I've kind of been thinking about this. Obviously, I've done push-pull, rest, legs, rest for quite some time. I've tagged biceps and triceps and start legs. That worked very well. As the off-season started to progress, the triceps, I had to kind of scale back a little bit because my pressing was taking a hit. But it would be better to do like push-pull, legs, rest, and repeat, because then you'd still be training arms on push and pull days, but eat more frequently, right? Because of that less rest day, or just do an actual full-blown arm day with that same split. Like, obviously one is frequency, one is volume. Where do you decide which is best?
Great question, and it's actually something I've already been thinking about for you, and something I'm already toying around with. And it's going to be basically, when we look at your needs, right? When you look at your physique and what's actually improving and what we do need to work on. Realistically, Dara, and this is me being extremely honest with you guys. And look, I can sometimes come across quite harsh, but that's coming from a place of care, right? Because I do not want to set any unrealistic expectations across any of you guys, right? So if I can just be honest, it might hurt a little bit at the time, but it's going to save you some heartache in the future. We know with yourself, Dara, you still have scope to add enormous amount of tissue, but we know that your arms are never really going to be big. I'm sorry, but they're not.
I know that.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I hope you enjoyed a little bit of insight as to what myself, Meg, and the team do for our clients and our mentees. Now, a very, very annoying task is ahead for Meg, which is shaving me. We've already completed half of the body earlier. Now, another half is about to go down right now, but you're not going to get to see that. Anyway, if you enjoyed the insight to today's call, comment progressive overload. Next barbershop. Right guys, pre-workout meal time. Usual pre-workout meal. We've got my cream of rice, dates, pineapple, and some blueberries saved from meal one. Now, I'm just trying to find something to watch before my pull day, as I do like to look at videos of other people training pull before I do pull. Meal number 3 hasn't changed, still the same. 1 cap Digest Pharma Pro, 3 Ensure, 1 Magnesium, and 1 Omega with this meal. As always, I do spread out my omegas across the day, so there is an even intake going in, and I do have 10 grams of fat coming from omegas across my day as well. So it does amount to a decent amount of fat, but the quality is what's the most important. So pre-workout meal time, and it's game time. Also, 10 grams of glutamine and 5 grams of creatine.
I think right here. There. Good. Stretch. Pull. Yeah. Come on, I got a couple more. Dig it. One more.
How very peaceful and quiet is in here. I think I've done a good job with getting this room soundproof, because we are currently in the gym and it is the hour where music is banging. So I do think that we've managed to do a good job with soundproofing this room. Today's session is one of my favourite ones, to be honest. They're all my favourite, as programming at the moment is sitting pretty well. So I want to give you an overview of what the session is like before we get stuck into it. Exercise number 1, single arm Panata pull down, 2 working sets followed by prime pin stack row. This one is the one that converges out a little bit more. So it does feel a little bit different. The angle at which you pull is more horizontal, which is very rear delt / upper back dominant. So predominantly we are using that exercise as an upper back exercise. So we start off a lat, move on to upper back, which again, you hold back always does the work. But the way you execute and your exercise selection will bias one division of your back more than the other. Then moving onwards from that exercise, we move on to single arm Cybex row. And here we do 2 working sets. This is again more lat focused. Then we follow that up with a pin stack prime row, which is a hybrid because you move from a low to high plane of motion. It does diverge out as well. So it's a bit of a hybrid between upper back traps but also upper lat, because we do take the neutral grip in that exercise. Now, there's a lot of people that argue about exercise redundancy, saying that you only need, a couple of exercises to do the job. I disagree to an extent, because generally, whenever I do each exercise that I program in, it might look similar in a fashion, but it's very different. It either has a different arm path, or it diverges, or one does not. So I do think that there is merit to having at least 3 to 4 exercises, sometimes even 5 like I do today, for back work in general. Now, to finish off on, we do have the Panata pull down. That is very heavy in the stretch, and it drops off really well. So another benefit of utilizing this type of exercise is we start with an exercise that's more mid-range. Then as we work our way down, the exercises get more heavy and heavy in the stretch, matching the resistance profile, the strength curve of the muscle. So essentially, your lat is strongest in the stretch, right? As you get weaker, as you get more fatigued later in the session, your ability to do this, you shorten the lat, gets harder and harder. Therefore, picking exercises that are easier in this range allows you to get more out of each movement. Then after that, we do have 1 set of shrug, which sometimes I actually do straight after 2 sets of row on the pin stack row, the prime, the one that moves from a low to high plane of motion. Then we have 3 working sets of the bicep preacher curl. And what I actually do is I do a set of preacher curl straight into my reverse pec deck zigzag sets. So I do not waste time in doing so. And when I'm doing the reverse pec deck, I'm resting from the biceps, so I'm fresh, moving on to one exercise from the other. Total working sets, 15 sets, which is not the lowest volume, but it's definitely not high. It's very manageable, especially at this moment in time. So it still allows me to retain my lifts and even see some sort of progression, even now in a calorie deficit. So logbook is always the main indicator of progression or not progression or regression. So guys, that is a session. I'm going to do 2 sets of planks in here, get my head in the game, focus, and then I'll show you top working sets. Okay, here we fucking go. Oh, yeah. What was that? 12? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I actually felt really good. I feel like for me personally, generally neutral grip is best, and single arm where possible as well is much better. So, win-win. Fucking hell. Ooh. Get off, get off. Yeah. Bye. Another successful session in the books, and guess what? We've got the same post-workout meal, 250 smoked haddock and 125 cream of rice with 100 grams of blueberries. Consistency, my friends, that is the theme of today's video. You will see me do the same stuff every single day at the same time, the same quality, and keeping everything as fluid and as efficient as it possibly can. Now, when you do develop the skill to keep that sort of consistency, it's so hard to miss. It really almost makes it impossible to not do what is required. So, food for thought, guys.
Christ, I'm so fucking tired. I don't know if I can do this. And that's an off season, let alone fucking prep. Like, that's where you're like, I am so fucked. Like, when I woke up yesterday morning, I messaged Rich and I was just like, boss. And it took me until about 8 p.m. last night where I started to feel normal again. Trying to think about fatigue mitigation at any point, I promise you, so fucked. Like, that's why I bit back at that dude on Instagram today. And that's why I keep biting back at it online, because it's really, really, really winding me up now. And the dude then replied some crazy fucking bollocks to my response, talking to me about how, as the sessions go on, your ability to recruit muscle fibers decreases due to signals being sent from the brain to like the fucking central nerve. I'm like, who the fuck told you that? Someone with no fucking muscle. Someone with no fucking muscle just told you all of that bollocks. And you lapped it up. You were like, because you don't want to do the work. This is the situation. So when they get that chance to not do the work, they will fucking suck the fuck out of that. Because they're like, yeah.
Okay, that's episode 1 of Train by JP Progress Radio wrapped up. Very, very intense 1 hour with Jordan. We have started a podcast for the site, and it will be exclusive to website members only. We will cover various topics and subjects that are hot and popular. Now, I'm looking forward to showing you guys a bit of an outtake from the whole podcast. It will be up on JP YouTube, so check that out when it comes out, guys. Now, plan of action for me. We've got my meal number 5, which is again the same. We've got my salmon, 100 grams, 150 prawns, 75 rice, and 100 grams of veg, and 50 grams of pineapple. I've just had my magnesium, 1 more digest farmer. I will eat this, reply to the rest of the clients, and then try and switch off for the evening. It's probably going to be a rough one because I got pretty heated with Jordan, as we always do. So I'm going to need to take some time to really decompress now.